So in addition to the intent being different for these different adversaries that are capitalizing on online vulnerabilities, we have some other trends that are accompanying that escalation of the threat spectrum. If you look at this particular graphic, there is an increasing number of people online doing mischief that require a decreasing amount of technical knowledge to do an ever-escalating mischief online. So in other words, it takes less to do more, and this trend has been progressing in this direction for as long as I've been in the field. And I'd like to point out that about half of the world's population is now online. And if you look at where those concentrations are, continent by continent, you can see where the influx of new users is going to come from. So what we're doing is we're juxtaposing different cultures, putting them side by side on the internet, and we're coming up with a common means of accessing one another. We're seeing an increasingly large number of people online. It goes without saying, over 3 billion people. And it reminds me of when I was a kid and my mother would caution me about a half a dozen students at my school that were constantly in trouble. I could keep track of 6 people. That was doable. But knowing what's going on with 3.5 billion people is another kind of problem. There have been studies that indicate that in a population, somewhere around 3% of that population may indeed be sociopathic or criminally intended. You multiply 3% times the world internet population, and you have a mighty big number. It goes a long way from those 6 students that I was told to avoid to the 100 billion plus that are possibly intent on doing malicious things online. And finally, you see a formula that was developed by Hal Varian from Berkeley that talks about why it's so enticing for mischief to occur online. It's basically, the formula states, that the motivation to intrude is related to the inability to hold people accountable and the fact that punishment is very difficult. You'll find as we progress in our studies that attributing an attack to an individual or a group is very challenging to do. The internet was not constructed to provide that kind of fingerprint identification. And so the adversaries are able to exist online with impunity, and they know it. And so these trends, it takes less to do more. There's an emerging population on the internet that's astoundingly large. The fact that that means that those that are evilly intended are also an astoundingly large number, and the fact that it's very challenging to hold people to account is a recipe for problems. And in my experience, we've been truly in an arms race. We continually improve our defenses online, but likewise, adversaries, especially those that are well-financed and well-resourced, like what you experience with nation states, can escalate on their end their means of intrusion. So we get better, they get better. We get better, they get better. So just like the nuclear arms race, we have a digital arms race. And we're going to talk in later topics about how we handle managing cybersecurity in organizations in the face of this reality.